driving down. No, Anne called me.
Just checking its time. Good afternoon and welcome to the first meeting of the Greater Lincolnshire Combined County Authority. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded, and by being present at the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. There is no fire alarm planned, but if the fire alarm does go off, please remain seated and somebody will come in and demonstrate and show us where the fire exit is. We will now move to item 1 on the agenda, election of chair. Please can I ask the constituent members for nominations for the chair?
I'll nominate Councillor Martin Hill.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder? Sorry, is there a seconder?
Yeah, happy to second.
Thank you. Do we have any further nominations? No, thank you. Can we take a vote on that, please? And again, this is for voting for the constituent members only. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Great, so I'm pleased to confirm Councillor Martin Hill as Chairman of the Greater Lincolnshire County Combined Authority first meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Debbie, and thank you to Philip and to Rob for putting their, and everybody else for putting their confidence in me for the next 8 weeks, because in 8 weeks today there will be an election for the first mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, and of course then it will become a mayoral combined authority and the mayor will chair the subsequent meetings of that authority. A very historic day for Lincolnshire, I think we could all agree. In a very historic building, this building has stood here for 1,000 years, and as we know there's been a lot of history, a lot of debates here, and actually this very room was designed as a debating chamber, so it was designed when bishops or the chapters sat round the edges, everybody could hear everybody else. So I think also the scale and the magnificence of this great building is actually a sort of inspiration for all of us who are going to serve on the Mayoral Combined Authority and all those actually part of Greater Lincolnshire in terms of what can be achieved if you have ambition and if you have patience and you have a style that you wish to show to the whole world. So as we know, Lincolnshire, when it was a holy see, went all the way to the Thames. So it was the most powerful and the biggest bishopric in the whole country. And I think a part of our job as a combined authority, county combined authority, and as also a mayoral combined authority, is to follow in those footsteps and become an even more powerful part of the United Kingdom. This chapter house where we are now sitting, actually Parliament met here 709 years ago, between the 27th of January and the 20th of February 1316, so we have a precedent. Apparently it was a very eventful Parliament. The Duke of Lancaster was late arriving, which delayed, and I think there were maybe some fisticuffs as well. So hopefully in the history of the Mayoral Combined Authority, things will be a lot calmer, if not less sure about where we go. Lincoln, of course, is also home to the Magna Carta, which is and the Charter of the Forest, which is a very important document, as we all know, whereas the first step where the Commons actually were able to challenge the power of the throne. And obviously all the democracy we've had since then now means that we have universal elections, and then people can hold, those of us who are on this county combined authority, hold us to account, and obviously we all have to have our individual elections as well. Obviously there will also be the combined authority is both in the north and the Midlands, which are sort of straddling regions as well, but also in 8 weeks' time there will also be an election for the Mayor of Hull and East Yorkshire. So 2 important elections, and those 2 mayors will obviously do their best to go down to fight for what's best for the region down in London. So I think that together, and I'm sure they will work together, and the voice of East Midlands, voice of Lincolnshire, and the voice of Hull and East Yorkshire will be a powerful voice, and let's hope they work together. So it has taken a long time for us to get here, ever since the government announced its intentions to roll out devolution across England following the Scottish referendum. So it went to Scotland, then to Wales, and obviously then to the cities. And it has taken about 10 years now for it finally to be rolled out into rural areas. We will be one of the first, not the first, but one of the first rural county combined authorities. And I think I'm very confident the way that people in Lincolnshire have worked together in the past through, for example, the local enterprise partnership. I'm very confident that will continue and we'll work together to bring greater investment, but also greater influence to this area. So today is very much a setting up the organisation, those boring but very important things we have to do to make sure the governance is in place. And I think part of the reasoning behind that was, let's get the governance in place. So when the Mayor is elected on 1st of May, the Mayoral Combined Authority then can move forward rapidly to look at how we can use the extra investment we will get, but also the extra powers over skills, the extra powers over other investment as well. And I think it's a great opportunity, but it does take time, so I think there's no time to lose. So I think you very much welcome the fact the Mayor, when the Mayor arrives, won't be burdened with a lot of housekeeping. So I'm afraid quite a lot of the meeting is a bit dry, but we'll try and run through it as quickly and as seamlessly as possible. And obviously welcome any questions, comments, anybody of the combined authority. Obviously it's just the three upper tiers at the moment, but hopefully our friends from other councils will be joining us successfully very shortly. So with that, I will now move on to item 3 then, which is the election of the Vice Chairman of the County Combined Authority. So from the Chair, could I propose, sorry, Rob, I think you're going to propose.
Happy to propose Councillor Philip Jackson.
I would like to second Councillor Jackson. Are there any other nominations, please? I am not seeing any, so congratulations, Councillor Jackson, Philip, on your chairmanship, and I know you'll be together. We'll make a good team to get everything ready for the when the Mayor arrives, and we'll be able to support he or her he or she in the role as they pick it up. Item 4 then is apologies for absence. So who do I look to? Nicola, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Apologies have been received from Councillor Stan Shreve of North East Lincolnshire Council, and it's substituted today by Councillor Margaret Cracknell.
Any further apologies? If not, I'm not seeing any, so we'll move on to item 5 then, which are declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest which any officer or well, it's only members at the moment because we haven't got any officers yet. Any members wish to declare any interest, please now say.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that. Are there any other declarations of interest? Okay, thank you very much for that. Item 6 then. So we've got some members, so we just need some officers now to support us in our role. So we're going to start. So Tony Kavanagh, you're just going to run us through. We need 3 statutory officers, so would you like to explain what happens next? Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. So obviously here to recommend the appointment of the statutory officers. Members will note that obviously we are legally bound to have a number of statutory officers for the purposes of advice and guidance. We're proposing that, there are the 3 officers today are being put forward through a Section 113 agreement for the provision of their services to the Combined County Authority. And it's therefore recommended that the appointment of Lee Surderfield as Head of Paid Service and Senior Information and Risk Officer. Proposing that Lisa Tremble is appointed as a Monitoring Officer and Data Protection Officer, and the appointment of Guy Lonsdale as our Section 73 Officer. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Would you, three of you just like to introduce yourselves to us before we decide whether we want you or not?
Of course. So yeah, Lee Sitterfield, currently working at the County Council, but will be performing the interim Chief Operating Officer role.
Good afternoon. So I'm Lisa Tremble, currently working for Lincolnshire County Council as the Head of Legal Services, and if appointed will be in the role part-time.
Yep, Guy Lonsdale. I'm currently the Deputy Section 151 Officer at North East Lincolnshire Council, and if appointed I'll be spending 2 days a week undertaking this role.
On? Can't remember. Yes, it is. There you are. They're all sat there as a little gang, so we know who's going to do all the work, which would be good. Okay, I'm not aware of any other proposals, so I'd like to propose from the Chair that Lee Sitterfield, Guy Lonsdale and Lisa Tremble are appointed as Head of Paid Services Monitoring Officer and also Section 151 Officer. I would like to propose that from the Chair. Is that seconded, please?
Happy to second.
Seconded. All those in favour, please now show. Any against? Any abstentions? So that is carried, and congratulations on your appointments. Okay, move item 7 then. So this is sort of the main meat of the agenda, which is the Constitution and Governance Arrangements, Lisa. So if you'd like to just take us through these fairly carefully, but I will try and take them one at a time, and if anybody's got any queries and comments, we'll take them and then move on to the next one. Okay?
Thank you, Chair. I'm glad you said meat. I thought I was going to be the dry part of the meeting. So the purpose of this report is to seek approval on a number of governance-related matters that we're required by law to have in place to enable the combined authority to run effectively. So the first item is the Constitution, which Part 2 of our 2025 regulations make provision for. In drafting the Constitution, all of the Chief Execs and the leaders of the non-constituent and the constituent councils, as well as the Police and Crime Commissioners, have had the opportunity to input and make recommendations and be consulted, as have most of the senior officers within the councils in terms of the boards that will be decision-making boards within the authority. Members will note that this is a live document, it's a dynamic document, and it will be evolving as the Constitution and the authority evolves. And at present there are a number of documents missing from it, but those are featured later on in the agenda, and so once approved then we will work through and change that. And just in light of that, so there is a delegation that is asked for to myself as the monitoring officer to allow me to make cosmetic and legislative changes to the Constitution as we go. Lastly, in relation to the Constitution, members will note that at Part 5 there is a concurrency and consent protocol, and this is put in place to deal with the transitional period and future arrangements. And the aim of is that the constituent and non-constituent councils, we want to promote cooperation and collaboration in the way they work with these powers. And so the hope is that all of the other councils involved will adopt reciprocal arrangements in the spirit of working together. Chair, I don't know if you want me to stop and you take the recommendation. Okay.
Well, obviously, the first one then, we've obviously circulated a 600-page document, which we've all hopefully carefully read. So any questions, comments on the Constitution before we move on? No? Right, then we go to consents and concurrency proposals.
That was what I've just mentioned in terms of noting it and the hope that the other councils, because by adopting the Constitution, this authority will adopt the protocol, and the hope is that the constituent councils and non-constituent councils adopt reciprocal arrangements as well.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Nope. Item 3 then, title of the Mayor. We have choices. You could call him Governor.
You may. So, Section 42 of the Levelling Up and Regeneration Act of 2023 has a requirement that the authority makes a resolution in terms of what you are going to call your mayor. You do have many choices and they're set out in your report. The recommendation is that you call him, her, them, the mayor. There's also a note within the report that says in terms of future-proofing the council so that we don't have the authority, so that we don't have to come back to it. The devolution white paper makes reference to the mayor, so that's why it's recommended as well.
Thank you. So I propose then that the title of the person elected on the 1st of May will be the Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire.
I will second that.
Any to the contrary? Very good. Let's move forward. Okay then, right. So now we still get interesting. So we're going to appoint non-constituent members to the County Combined Authority. So Lisa, do you just want to run through what this is all about?
Yes. So we've already established the membership for the non-constituent authorities, but the 2025 regulations also allow the authority to appoint up to 6 non-constituent and associate members. The Levelling Up and Regeneration Act provides the mechanism for doing this in that the authority can designate nominating bodies, and these nominating bodies will put forward members that then the authority will approve. So in a preemptive step, we have approached the designated bodies that we want to be part of, and that is the District Joint Committee for Devolution, which is made up of the borough, city and district councils within Greater Lincolnshire, and also the Police and Crime Commissioner for Humberside and the Police and Crime Commissioner for Lincolnshire. All of them have given their consent, obviously on the condition that they get the designation, and then also in anticipation of this meeting, they've also provided the names of the members from the Joint Committee, and on this occasion it will be the Police and Crime Commissioner for Lincolnshire who has been nominated to take the 5th non-constituent place. So in terms of the resolutions that you see before you, they need to be taken in the order so that we make the designation, we accept the consent, we receive the nominations, and we accept and make the appointments. So I'll pass back to you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to, so I'll start with the 4 district nominations, which, as Lisa has said, has been the result of a decision by all 7 districts in Lincolnshire. So the proposal is that Councillor Nick Worth, Councillor Richard Wright, Councillor Naomi Tweddle and Councillor Craig Leyland are the 4 proposed. Do you all accept the nomination? Could you all say yes, please?
Thank you.
Thank you. Will that suffice, Lisa? Anything else to do with the district nominations? No? So welcome to the County Combined Authority, and I'm sure you will serve with diligence and enthusiasm. So the next one is the police representative. So Mark Jones, obviously welcome to Jonathan as well from Humberside Police, Police and Crime Commissioner. So Mark Jones, you've agreed that you will be the, it's been agreed between you two that you will be the nominated person to sit on the County Combined Authority. And that's, you're happy with that, Jonathan? That's agreed. So has accepted as well. You accept the nomination. Good. Thank you. And then finally, we have an associate member, which is that Neil or is that somebody else?
Someone else.
That's right. Neil is the final one who is actually there for to support the business sector, and you've agreed to carry on doing that while the business sector go through their election process or whatever search or replacement. So do you accept the nomination, Neil? You do. Thank you. Right. Are we all right there? We're all sorted then, are we, Lisa?
Yes. Should I keep going?
Keep going now, yes.
Okay. So I'll deal with the next 3 together, if I may, because these are for independent persons and we require a few of them in order for us to function. So the first one is under the Localism Act. We require 2 independent persons to assist with the standards regime on the basis that when or if code of conduct complaints are received about members of the combined authority, then if we're reminded to investigate them, then we need to consult with the independent person, and good practice is that 2 are appointed. Additionally, we are required to have an independent person on each of our audit committees and our overview and scrutiny committees. But the 2017 regulations stipulate that in order to be prior to appointing, we need to go through a recruitment and advertise the vacancies. So you'll see that your resolution for all three of those is asking for delegated authority for the monitoring officer to start the recruitment process. Obviously, once that recruitment process has progressed, reports will come back to the authority. So you will have the ability to appoint the persons.
Again, proposals there to start the recruitment process for the three posts. Is that agreed? Any contrary? Okay, so that is agreed then. Thank you, Lisa.
Excellent.
So are we done? We've still got Councillor Mitchell to deal with, haven't we? Under your section.
So the final recommendation is about appointment to outside bodies. Usually this would have been done at the annual council, but I think in the circumstances we want to make provision for the authority to be represented in relation to our transport functions. So we have been approached and received a request for nominations in relation to Transport for the North Partnership Board and also Rail North Committee. There is some restrictions in terms of who we can appoint, in that the Transport for the North Constitution says that the co-opted member must be an elected mayor, chair or leader of the combined authority, but we're also entitled to appoint a substitute for that. So we've said that pending the election of the mayor, the recommendation is that the chair is appointed into the co-opted seat with a substitute nominated as well.
Thank you. I understand there is one meeting of the Transport for the North before the mayors are elected. So the proposal is that Councillor Davies and Councillor Mitchell are the two proposed nominees, and one of those will then be able to attend the meeting of the Transport for the North. Is that agreed? Yeah, agreed. Thank you. So are we done on item 7, Lisa? Thank you very much. We got through that quite. Not too bad, was it? Good. Okay, we move on then to item 8, which is the local assurance framework, and obviously district representatives and police and business representatives are now part of the meeting as well. Welcome to you all. Okay then, so Matt Garrard, you're just going to walk us through this one.
Thank you, Chairman. The report recommends the approval of a local assurance framework for the Greater Lincolnshire Combined County Authority. The English Devolution Accountability Framework requires all devolved institutions to adopt an assurance framework detailing decision-making and accountability for the spending of public money. A draft local assurance framework is enclosed with the report and has been developed with the support of government officials from the Department of Transport, the Department of Education and from the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, who've coordinated support across Whitehall. The document has been prepared consistent with the Constitution and the financial regulations of the Combined County Authority. It should be noted that agreeing an assurance framework is also a requirement to unlock devolved funding, including capacity funding, which would follow quite swiftly, and the investment fund after the mayoral election. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. So just for clarification, are there any reserved matters which are just within the remit of the constituent members?
The report is open for decision-making from all members of the Combined County Authority.
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
The decision is open for all members to vote on. Okay,
very good. So, any questions, comments? Obviously, the budget and all these plans have been circulated for your perusal. So, questions, comments on it? Any queries? I'm looking very carefully around the room, not seeing anybody. It is pretty straightforward in the first year, obviously first set-up year. So with that, I will ask for those in favour of adopting the budget, the medium-term financial plan, including reserves. Sorry?
Assurance framework.
The assurance, and the, oh, I'm on the wrong one. Sorry, the local assurance framework, I do apologise. Is that agreed? Yeah. Agreed. Thank you. Right, we now move on to the budget, so apologies for that. Making you redundant, Guy. So, Guy, would you like to run us through the budget? I do apologise for that.
Thank you.
You got their microphone.
Thank you. I'll just provide a brief resume of the report. So obviously as a newly established corporate body, the CCA has a requirement to establish a balanced budget and a indicative medium-term financial plan is what the paper does. Quite clearly the budget needs to be set at a level to be able to deliver the CCA's ambitious aims and objectives, also demonstrate the proper stewardship of public funds, and also I think really importantly demonstrate value for money to the residents of Lincolnshire. It's noted, within the report that the CCA is going to be responsible for significant funding streams, and you'll see some of that, within the report, and therefore it's really important that the CCA has strong treasury management arrangements. And what we're recommending is the CCA adopt the treasury management strategy and practices of North East Lincolnshire Council on an interim basis ahead of the development of a more tailored treasury management arrangement as the combined authority develops. So the plan that's presented in front of you supports delivery of those aims and objectives, and clearly will need to be refined and evolve over time as the CCA takes on additional responsibilities. So we've got 4 key recommendations included within the report, which the CCA is being asked to consider. 1, to approve the budget and the medium-term financial plan, adopt those interim treasury management arrangements, note that further development of the medium-term financial plan, and also finally opt into the National Public Sector Audit Appointments Framework to progress the appointment of an external auditor. Obviously, as a newly established corporate body, the organisation will have to have an external auditor. Thank you.
Right, thank you for that. So we'll repeat again, apologies for that. So what we're being asked to approve here is the budget, the medium-term financial plan, including reserves, arrangements of banking and approach to external audit. All of these have been circulated, so any questions, comments are welcomed. Okay, yes, Councillor.
No problem. Well, thank you, Chair. Just to say that I think, first of all, it's worthy of note that the constituent authorities are contributing in the first financial year as part of the set-up of the combined authority, which I think is important in terms of demonstrating our commitment to the way in which it's going to run. But that's a limited investment. Clearly, we need to make sure that the combined authority can be sustainable. I think, secondly, just to note that this is, when you look at this in budget terms, it's such a significant amount of money that's coming into Lincolnshire that we get to have an influence over. And I think the point's been well noted that, this is an interim budget. We'll need to understand the ebbs and flow of how the combined authority will function. But clearly what we've got here is a report that sets out what our position is and keeps us safe as an organisation, but also it sets out the tone for the money that's coming into Lincolnshire that will be new and how we can make a difference with it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Contributions? No. So then with that, then I will then move to a vote. So a simple majority, which would have to include the Chair. So I would then propose from the Chair that we accept approve all the following as I've described. So all those in favour? Is it just the constituent?
It's just the constituent
members who vote on this one? So that's unanimous, I believe. Thank you. Okay then, move on to item 10, which is recommended scheme of members' allowances. Charlotte?
So the combined authority is required, having regard to the recommendations of the independent remuneration panel, to adopt a scheme of member allowances for each financial year, and this includes remuneration for the elected mayor. The independent remuneration panel appointed was North Lincolnshire Council's IRP, and their report is attached to this report at Appendix A. The IRP was required to recommend a scheme of allowances payable to the mayor, deputy mayor, members of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee and any subcommittee of that committee, and members of the Audit Committee. Members are asked to receive and consider the report of the IRP in order to approve the Members' Allowance Scheme, which can be found at Appendix B to the report, and it is recommended, having regard to the IRP's report and recommendations, that you set the level of remuneration for the elected mayor at £86,060, which is within the range recommended by the IRP's report, for inclusion in the approved scheme of allowances. Having regard to the IRP's report and recommendations, approve and adopt the member allowance scheme for the 2025-26 financial year, or for a reasonable period of no longer than 4 years, and authorise your monitoring officer to carry out additional associated work to implement the scheme and provide members with guidance on how to submit claims for allowances and how and when remuneration will be received. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So obviously, as Charlotte's just stated, this proposal went to the Independent Remuneration Panel, who have given us some recommendations. So I'd like to move from the chair that we accept those recommendations as have been circulated. Would I have a seconder, please? Councillor Bradwell will second. All those in favour, please show. Again, that is unanimous.
Non-constituents can vote.
And non-constituents apparently can vote. Aren't you lucky? So would you like to vote? I'll start again. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? So that is then carried. And just for clarity, just want to explain that, in case there's any confusion, if you're already a member of a constituent council, you will not get an allowance unless it exceeds what you're currently entitled to.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Okay, so Councillor Waltham can return now. Okay, move on then to item 11, which adoption of various policies from Matt. Hopefully not too, I don't want to go through each one here, please.
Understood. Thank you, Chairman. The report recommends the approval of a suite of policies considered important to the establishment of the Greater Lincolnshire Combined County Authority. In supporting the creation of the authority, a key focus for officers has been on ensuring that the new authority can be safe and legally compliant from establishment. The policies included in the report are those considered as important in meeting statutory or financial requirements for the new organisation, and they draw on best practice from existing policies across the constituent councils. The policies are listed in the report from A to K and are recommended for approval. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I've had the pleasure of reading all of these, and very enjoyable it was too. So I can assure you that they are very sensible and typical of a local authority. So are there any questions, comments on any of these policies? I think not. Good. So with that, I'd like to propose then, move from the chair, that we adopt all those policies as they are listed on the page there.
It's a second, Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else, any other proposals? Right, can I vote on that then, please? Can we have a vote? All members are allowed to vote? Okay, so I've got 4. Anybody against? Any abstentions? Very good. Right then, moving on to people and organisation matters. Item 12. So, to consider and approve the operating principles and interim structure of the GLCCA, including approach to pay and grading. Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So members will be aware that obviously the PEPI sets out a number of key requirements to operate the authority in terms of officers. Obviously, we've already dealt with the matter of the appointment of the statutory roles, so I won't propose to go through that again. Within the report, there is also reference to the use of service level agreements for the provision of services to the combined authority. And you'll see in Appendix A there is an interim structure which gives the outline of the proposals for the new structure for the council. In terms of pay and grading structure, we're proposing that the Combined County Authority adopts the Lincolnshire County Council pay and grading structure, namely for local government services with the Green Book and our local scheme, and for those roles that fall outside of that, which is a small number, it would be the senior leadership pay for the posts of a level above the normal Green Book scales. Thank you.
Okay, right, so that would seem pretty straightforward. A tried and trusted pay and grading a system we have. So again, unless there are any comments or questions, I'm not expecting. All those in favour, please now indicate. Thank you very much. Any abstentions? Anybody against? Okay, that's then carried as well. Thank you, Tony. Right, okay, item 13 then. So we need to appoint a Combined County Authority returning officer for the election of the Mayor on the 1st of May. So Matt, where's Matt gone? I've lost him. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
There is a proposal, I believe.
There is
we've had a willing volunteer.
Very willing, Chairman. So the report proposes the appointment of Rob Walsh, the Chief Executive of North East Lincolnshire Council, as the area's Combined County Authority returning officer for the mayoral election on the 1st of May. The constituent councils, in order to enable the timely preparation for the election, have already appointed Rob, but the Combined Authority also has a responsibility to consider the proposed role, and the report recommends that in order to enable the timely preparation for the election, that they support the decision of the constituent councils and appoints Rob Walsh as the Cacaro.
Do you accept the nomination? Oh, sorry. Do you accept the nomination, Rob?
Gratefully.
Looking forward to it already, aren't you? Is that any Philip, Councillor Jackson?
Yes, as the leader of North East Lincolnshire Council, I'm more than happy to propose Rob Walsh for this role. I'm sure he will do a fantastic job.
Is that seconded? Yes, Councillor Waltham seconds. Was it supposed to be me? So it looks like it's supposed to be me. Anyway, it's done.
It's done.
Let's not stand on ceremony. So, any alternative proposals? Anybody else fancy the job? I wouldn't if I were you. So, with that, are we all agreed? Please show. That's agreed. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Righto. So we then move on to item 14, which I believe is the last one. Is that right? Which is delivering devolution, last but not least. Okay, Lee.
Okay, so as you highlighted at the start, Chairman, the meeting's gone through the necessary governance arrangements for the Greater Lincolnshire Combined Authority, and this report sets out what that machinery is there to support and deliver. So the authority is seeking to bring forward the ambitions set out within the devolution deal and the devolution proposal, and it will bring forward decisions on investment on infrastructure, housing, transport, skills to local decision makers. The report sets out the priority areas contained within the proposal document, along with an initial forward plan for the combined authority, which will be decisions taken on adult skills in terms of readiness and the strategic skills plan as we prepare for those devolved funds to come to the area and develop the appropriate strategies, plans and policies to support and guide the activities and growth in the area. So, as set out in the report, it's recommended that the Combined County Authority adopt the devolution deal and the proposal as policy and agree the forward plan to deliver against the deal and that proposal.
Thank you. Pretty straightforward, I think, then. So, any questions, comments?
So I'd like to propose both recommendations, Chairman.
Sorry?
I'd like to propose both recommendations.
Thank you. Have I seconded, please? Yes. Thank you. That is, any questions with that? And if nobody's got any questions or comments, They're all a very quiet bunch, aren't they, today, Lee? So that's good. So I'll now propose that we agree that we confirm the arrangements. Everybody happy with that? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Lee, is there anything else we need to do before I close the meeting?
No, that's the entire agenda. Thank you, Chairman. That's the whole agenda. Thank you, Chairman. At close of the meeting, attendees and guests are invited to attend a service held by the Dean at the Cathedral, and then we'll be proceeding into a launch event and celebration within the Cathedral later this evening. So the service is at 5:30, and then the event is straight after the conclusion of the service.
That, I'd like to thank you all for your attendance and thank you in advance for all the work we're all going to have to be doing in the meetings, but also that we make sure we make the most of this magnificent opportunity we now have for benefit of Greater Lincolnshire. So thank you for attendance, and hopefully see many of you at the Evensong service, which is just in the choir just around the corner. Thank you.